So today is our second day. First day we had on Friday. So most of the people were attending on Friday. Saturday, I don't know whether it is misinformation or shortage of the communication. Saturday session was there, but only few people joined. So what I did on Saturday, again I repeated the first class because new persons were there on the Saturday. So I just repeated the same class what we had on the Friday. So basically today is our second day session. I hope everybody got the first day recording, or you might have seen from our YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel also these demo sessions are available. Okay, so let's start. So on first day we did not discuss anything, just I went through the what are the topics which we are going to cover through this Linux administration course. Okay, which will be about like 32 to 35 days. Okay, and I told you why this course is important, why it is necessary even for higher courses. So I'll just start today's session with what? Today will be actually the first session where we are going to start with the introduction of Linux. So this course is about Linux administration. So first we should know what is Linux. So from there we will start. Okay. So first few days, basically we are going to discuss about fundamental things. So because when your fundamentals are strong, your subject will be good. So we'll start with the first thing. What is Linux? So I hope I asked this question on the first day itself and most of you were writing the answer. So I'm clear that everybody knows what is Linux. Yes. So Linux is an open source operating system. So we'll start our today's session with the importance of operating system, whether it is Linux or any OS, why we need the OS. Then after that, why we are discussing Linux, why it is important. That will be our today's session. So let's start with the so let's start the today's session with what? Operating system. So suppose you have purchased one new machine. Let us assume this is your new laptop you have purchased today, a brand new laptop. Just a minute. So this is the brand new laptop you have purchased. And in this, you are sitting somewhere here and you're trying to operate this laptop. But in this laptop, there is no operating system. In this laptop, it is a brand new machine. In that there is no laptop, there is no operating system. Will you able to use this laptop without operating system? Will you able to use this laptop without OS? Yes. You can write the answer yes or no. So without any operating system, can you able to use this laptop? No, you cannot use. So everybody knows, all of us knows that without operating system, we cannot operate a computer, whether it is your desktop or laptop. Yes, we cannot operate it. So all of us knows this without OS, we cannot operate the operating system. But why? Why we cannot able to operate? There has to be some reason, no? Yes. So what might be the reason? So for that, one simple example we can take is that suppose, example I'm saying, suppose you know Telugu language. Example, you know Telugu language. I know Hindi. So can we communicate? You don't know other than Telugu. I don't know other than Hindi. Can we communicate? No, we cannot communicate. Then what is the alternate option? There are two options. One is we can use some common language that like English. So suppose you don't know other than Telugu, I don't know other than Hindi. So that option, first option is ruled out. So what is the second option now? Only option available if you want to communicate. You know, example I'm saying before I go to the operating system, so that you will remember this. Everybody knows without operating system we can't use, but why? So I just took one example. You know Telugu language, I know Hindi language. So can we communicate? No. Then we want to communicate. How it will be possible? Yes, anybody? What might be the solution? Common language we don't know. You know only Telugu, I know only Hindi. So how we can communicate? Yes. Yes. What is the option? No? This is the thing you are facing. So how we can communicate now? Yes, Vamshi is very nice. Yes, Vamshi, you're right. Yes, we can use one translator, one mediator. So who knows your language and also my language? Yes. So this is exactly what happens in the computer. So computer consists of what? Computer is a collection of hardware. Computer consists of what? Hardware and software. Computer consists of hardware and software. Computer is a collection of hardware and software. So hardware understand which language? Hardware understand only machine language, binary language, which is nothing but zeros and one. Software understand which language? High level language. You can say binary is nothing but low level language. Low level language is nothing but, I'm writing in short, low level language. Low level language. And this is your high level. So computer consists of hardware and software. So hardware understand, hardware understand only hardware, low level language, that is binary. And the software understand only high level language like C. There are so many languages, high level languages. Yes. PHP, Perl, Oracle, so many are there. So can they understand low? Now it is similar to like one person know Telugu, one person know Hindi. So can they communicate? No. So now hardware cannot communicate with software, software cannot communicate with hardware. So between these, we need one mediator. Between this hardware and the software, we need one mediator. Who is that mediator? Mediator is nothing but here is the operating system. So any operating system is a collection of, operating system is a physical thing or logical thing? It's a logical thing. So any operating system is a collection of program. Any operating system is a collection of program which acts like an interface between the hardware and the software, so that using that mediator, you translator, we can operate the computer. So I hope you are following. If you are not getting anything, please write it in the chat box. Again, I'll reply. So I repeat once again, operating system is a collection of program which acts like an interface between the hardware and the software. So using that as a user, we can able to operate the computer. Whether I'm clear to everyone? Whether I'm clear to everyone? So say yes, no, something. Use the chat box. Don't unmute your mic. Okay, nice. So please reply. Okay. So now this collection of programs, any operating system is a collection of programs. So we are discussing which operating system? Linux. Why Linux? I told you on the first day also, most of the people in the world, as a client, they are using Windows operating system because it is easier to operate. It is easy to use. But as for the servers, if you want to work like an administrator, most of the servers in the world, they are working on Linux. So if you want to work on the servers, you have to know about the Linux. So you'll be getting the, once you're done with this course, and if you get a job, your designation will be Linux administrator, who will be managing the network with the help of the Linux operating system, because most of the servers in the world are working on the Linux. So we are going to discuss which operating system. Suppose our machine is installed with the Linux OS, because this course we are going to learn through the Linux. So let us understand that, let us assume that our Linux operating system is installed. So this Linux operating system collection of program is divided into two parts. What are those two parts? First part is called shell, and the second and most important part of the Linux kernel, sorry, Linux operating system is Linux kernel. So the complete collection of program of the Linux operating system is logically divided into two level. First level is shell, second level is kernel. So the most important part of the Linux operating system is kernel. So first part is called shell, second part is kernel. So whenever we open the terminal, by default, we will be using the shell. We will be using the shell. So what is the default shell we are using in Linux? Bin bash. This is the name of the program which acts like a converter, translator. So whenever we open the terminal, we are using the shell. So Linux can work on graphical mode as well as text, but to have a good security and to have a good performance, faster performance, we will use mostly the command. So once you give the command, you will be giving the command in high level language. Yes. So whether the computer understand or the function has to be done by the hardware. So whether can they understand? No. So once we write any command using the shell in Linux, what happens? The shell will first check whether the command which we have given is right or not. If it is correct, it will convert that into from high level to binary. Now it goes to the kernel. Straight away, it will not go to the hardware. Now kernel is called the core of the Linux operating system, or in simple word, you can also say it is something like a brain of the operating system. So what is the function of our brain? Our brain does not do anything, but all our action, whatever we do, it's controlled and managed by our brain. Which part of the body should do which function at what time, all those things will be decided by our brain. So same way, whenever any task we want to do through the Linux, first we have to write the command. Once we write the command in the shell, shell will check that command is correct or not. If it is not correct, immediately will get the command not found. So if it is correct, it will send that, it will immediately convert. This happens in the background. So it will convert that into binary and send it to kernel. Now the kernel will decide this like a brain. This task should be done by which hardware and software. So it will send to that. Then the hardware will do that work and the output will be available in binary form. So what the kernel will do, once the output is available, once the task is done by the machine, then the output, which is in binary form, again it will send it to the shell. Now shell will convert that output from binary to high level and displays on the monitor. So this is what happens in the background when we use the Linux OS. So I hope everybody knows who developed the Windows OS. Yes, Windows operating system, who designed or who developed. Yes, any idea? I think most of us are using Windows. Yes, in your laptop it will be there. Yes, Microsoft. No. Yes, this operating system, Windows, is an operating system which is designed by Microsoft company, but under Bill Gates. Yes. So you should say this is designed by the Bill Gates. Yes, our Satya is saying correctly. Vamshi, you are maybe not wrong, but when I ask when, sorry, who, means it is company proprietor. So who is the proprietor? Now he might be just outside the company, but it's still under the management of Bill Gates only. So basically this OS is designed by Bill Gates. Yes, Windows. So this Windows OS is designed by Bill Gates using the DOS. So same way now, who designed the Linux operating system? Linux is also an operating system, but Linux is an open source operating system. What is meant by open source? We will discuss today. Just I'm going through the who designed the Linux operating system. Yes, that answer is correct. Linus Torvald, Vamshi Krishna, very nice. Satya, you also right. Yes, his name is uh, Linus Torvald, correct name. Finland. He is from Finland. Like Bill Gates is still alive. This person is also alive. So Windows roughly, I think, came in 1983 or 84. Linux came in 1991 officially. 91, 30 August 1991. So this is designed by Linus Torvald using the Unix. Using the Unix. What is Unix? Unix is also an operating system which is designed by AT&T company, American Telephone and Telegraph. AT&T designed the Unix operating system, which was completely command-based, no graphical, but it was very secure. Virus cannot enter. So it was very good OS. The drawback with the Unix was Unix is the proprietary-based operating system. Proprietary means, so the Unix operating system designed by AT&T. So AT&T, on AT&T machine only Unix can get installed. So their OS name was sys3, sys5. Then by that they earn a lot of money. By seeing this, the other bigger companies like the IBM, HP, Sun company, they designed their own OS. Like IBM designed AIX, which can be installed only on IBM machine. HP design HPUX, which can be designed on only HP machine. So then out of this, more popular was Solaris, which is designed by Sun. Now so Sun is taken by Oracle company, and the IBM has taken over the Red Hat also. Remember this. So this file, I have made 3 files, one file practical, one file theory related part of the system administrator part, theory related part of the network administration part will be sent to you on your mail ID once you make the payment. So here, the Windows has two OS, client OS and server OS. So the client OS has been designed like with the name sys3, Windows 7, 8, 10, 11, which can be used by the client to access the services. We'll come to that. We'll come to that. The difference between Windows OS and Linux OS. We'll discuss that. So in Windows, we have two types of OS, client and server. So Windows OS designed by Bill Gates using DOS. So in Windows, we have two types of OS, server OS, client OS. So server OS is designed for making the or installing the server OS on server to configure the servers. Client OS is been designed for the users, employees to access the services. But in Linux, we have a similar like server OS and client OS. So as an administrator, if you want to work, you should be working on server OS. So in Linux, that server OS is referred as enterprise Linux. So Linux is an open source operating system. So Linux is designed by Linus Torvald using the Unix. What is Unix? Unix is an also operating system, which was a completely text-based operating system. And the main drawback with the Unix was hardware dependent OS. Hardware dependent OS. Hardware dependence means, as I told you, if you have a HP machine, can you install AIX? No. Can you install Solaris? No. Solaris can be installed only on Sun machine. So if you are changing the Unix OS, you have to change the complete hardware. That was the major drawbacks with the Unix downfall. In this, the most popular was Solaris, which was designed by Sun. Now the Sun company is taken by the Oracle. And IBM has taken over the Red Hat. Now let us come to the what is meant by open source. Now let us come to the what is meant by open source. So now we'll try to understand what is open source. Open source means, as we have discussed, is a collection of program. So that program, whoever writes it, they will write in some coding and some program. So that is called source code. So the main advantage with the Linux, or the main feature which separate the Linux with other OS is, so the Linux operating system, which is written by Linus Torvald. So whatever coding and program he has written, which is called source code, he put it over the internet, which anybody can modify, can access free of cost, and using that Linux kernel. So the Linux main operating system is Linux kernel. So the Linux kernel, which is written by Linus Torvald, he put it over the internet. So anybody not only can access that, they can completely see the complete program which the Linus Torvald written for the Linux kernel. So they can add some shell. They have to design their own shell and add it to the Linux kernel, which is designed by Linus Torvald. So that's why Linux is called open source operating system. So I repeat, open source means the source code of the Linux operating system, which is written by Linus Torvald to design the Linux kernel, is freely available over the internet, which anybody can access. Not only we can access, we can modify, we can add some extra shell to that, and we can have our own OS. So that is the reason in Linux we have so many flavors. So you might have heard some name out of this: Ubuntu, Kali Linux, SUSE, Debian, Turbo, Boss. This is the Indian but company designed this OS, Bharat Operating System Solution. So you can also take the original source code of the Linus Torvald, but you have to have good knowledge about the coding and programming. So you have to design your own shell and add to that. Then you can have your own logo, your own OS with your own name. So this feature is not there in any other OS. This is there only in the Linux. So why Linux is called open source? I hope you understood. I repeat, open source means the source code of the Linux kernel, which is designed by Linus Torvald, is freely available over the internet, which anybody can access and modify. Because of that, we have so many flavors, which is designed by different company. Red Hat OS, designed by Red Hat company. Ubuntu OS, designed by the Ubuntu. Debian, designed by Debian company. These are the names of the company. So they kept their own logo. The official logo of the Linux is, which is designed by the Linus Torvald, is Penguin. Then once you add some features to that, the Linux kernel, which is designed by Linus Torvald, you can have your own logo, your own name. So this feature is not there in any other OS. Is it clear? Whether I'm clear to you what is meant by open source? Is it clear to everybody what is open source? Please tell me yes, no, something. If it is not, I'll repeat. If it is yes, I'll move to the next topic. Okay, then the next question. Next question the people will ask, sir, which will be discussing? So we are going to discuss the Red Hat through CentOS. So Red Hat and CentOS is exactly same from installation to command. So I'm going to give you the link from where you can download the CentOS 7, and also I'll give the link for VMware to do the practical. Every day I'll show you the practical, and I'll be giving you one practical step file. In that everything will be written with heading and command. So you can do it easily. Okay. So for Red Hat, they are charging. They are charging not for the OS, but they will provide the support. CentOS, it's completely free. So Red Hat is releasing their OS in two categories, Fedora and RHL. Fedora is for home purpose, but we want to work like an administrator. So that is similar to like server OS, Enterprise Linux, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, whereas CentOS stands for C means community, ENT means enterprise operating system. So the company cannot survive on the free concept, but some individual people who are working in Linux company, they form one association with the name CentOS. So their intention is what? They want to spread the Linux. Now, the next most commonly used operating system, next one is Windows. Sorry, first most commonly used Windows across the world is Windows. Next to Windows, most of the people in the world using which operating system now? Linux. So Linux has become the competitor. But when we say most of the people in the world means most of the users are using the Windows OS. But if you check in the Google also, most of the servers in the world, they are working on Linux because Linux will have good security compared to the Windows OS. One of our friend written, what is the difference? I think Vamshi, yes. Difference between OS and between Windows OS and Linux OS. We'll come to that. Why most of the people prefer to use the Windows as client? Because it is easy to operate. But why the companies are using the Windows, not Windows server, but Linux server operating system or Linux OS as their server? Because we'll go into detail. First thing you have to remember, Linux is more secure, good security. That's why most of the servers are working on Linux. So we are going to discuss this course RHL 7 through CentOS 7. Exactly same commands will work in RHL 8 also. If anybody have the link of the 8, you give me so that I can share on the chat box so other also can. Okay, I have for the 7. So are you following? Now next question most of the people will ask, because I have taken so many batches. I know from the previous batches and my experience, because when I new to the Linux, same thing happens to me. So their question they will be, sir, will we able to work on all the flavor? Can I learn all the flavor and do the job? The answer is your whole life will be over. No one can learn all the flavors. Then they'll say, I'm now learning on RHL. If I get the job in the company, that server might be on Suzy or Debian. So the answer is the concept, the structure, everything will be same. So if you are good with one flavor, you can work on other flavor. So for that, one simple example is, suppose you have Maruti 800. You know that how to drive the Maruti 800. So after some years, you might have become enough money to purchase one bigger car. I don't know much about the car. Maybe it's suppose Tata Sumo or something like that you have purchased. So will you able to drive that? Yes, you can able to drive. So maybe first a few days, 2-3 days, it will take little bit here and there, some slight variation in features will be there. What you can drive. So within 1 or 2 days or 3 days maximum, you will get adjusted between that and this. Yes, you don't have to learn all the driving from initial from on Tata Sumo again. No need. So once you know one flavor, you can work on any other flavor because the concept, the structure will be same. So how the people are doing, suppose they know Red Hat, their company is on Debian. So they know this for this task, this command in Red Hat. So they'll just type in Google equivalent command. In some cases, the command may be same. In some cases, it will be different. So you immediately get the same equivalent command. They'll type it over. One person cannot learn. So that's what I'm saying. So many companies' cars are there. But if you know how to drive one similar, you can easily switch over to the other car. Is it correct or not? If anybody knows the driving, I think you may, so many companies are there. I don't know much about the car's name, Tata Sumo, maybe Benz. So many they'll talk, BMW, something like that. So do I have to learn again? No, you can easily operate that. It may take few hours or few days just to know the features, slight different features. Is it clear to you why the Linux is called open source? And once we are good in one flavor, you can work on other flavor. no one can learn all the flavors. So most of the servers in Linux is Red Hat. That's why we are discussing Red Hat. Red Hat is a very good quality product. So once you learn that, you can easily work on other flavor. Up to this, I'm clear. Whether I'm clear to everyone up to this. Okay, now we'll try to understand why most of the servers are on Linux, why not on the Windows. So now we'll see the structure of the Linux OS. So the Linux OS consists of, as I told you, shell and the Linux kernel. So in the Windows, there is no shell, only Windows kernel will be there. So now in Windows, you can execute any program, and Windows will have directly the execute permission, but in Linux, there is no execute permission. So suppose somebody has sent you one virus file. So in Windows, if you are using that file, you can run and it will get run and the OS will get corrupted. But in Linux, if somebody send you one virus file, you cannot execute because execute permission will not be there. And second, once you write that file, that command, the shell will check that command is there in the OS. So whoever developed the OS, they will predefine the commands. So the command, the shell will check the command, that command is proper or not. So once it is does not found that command, it will not execute that command. It will simply say command not found. Command not found. So in Windows, that security is not there. In Linux, first the shell is the interface between the user and the kernel. So what it will do, it will check the command, whether the command is correct or not. So most of the shells are designed by using C language. So what is the default shell we use is bin bash. So it will check the command is correct or not. Second, it will check that command is given by the user or the root. Root is called super user. Super user means in Windows, we are calling that as administrator. In Linux terminology, administrator account is referred with the name root. That we'll see tomorrow. Root is the administrator. So that command is given by root or super user will be. So what is the work of the shell? First, it will check the command is who has given the command. After that, the command is correct or not. After that, it will check that command can be, suppose, is given by the normal user. So normal user cannot use most of the command. Only few simple command they can use, like ls, cat. But now if the command is given by the root also, if that command is found, it will execute that command. If it is command is not found, it will simply write command not found. So this extra security in Windows is not there. I hope you are understanding, especially Vamshi, you asked me. Yes, are you getting? So this file I'll be sending you this, no need to write all these things. Whatever important thing I've collected, I'll just put it in the one notepad file for standalone topic, one file. For network admin theory part, one file. And the practical of a standalone and network admin, I put it in one file. So 3 files I'll be sharing you. So what is the role of the shell? First layer, it will check the command who is given and the command is correct or not. If it is correct, it will convert it from the binary language to, from high level language to binary, and it will send to the kernel. So this is how the Linux operating system will operate. In Windows, you don't have the shell, remember. Now, once the command is converted, it is correct, converted into binary by the shell. Now it comes to the kernel. What the kernel will do, as I told you, kernel is called the core, or the, you can use the word core or the brain of the Linux operating system. Now it will communicate directly with the hardware, and it will direct which hardware should do this work. So once the output is available, the output which is in binary form. So what our brain does, it control all our tasks. Same way, all the tasks, whatever command we are giving in Linux, who will do which task will be controlled and managed by the kernel. So once the output is available, so again the output will be sent by the kernel to the shell. Now the shell will show you the output in the high level language. So what is the shell? It is the security layer. So it will check the command is known or unknown. So in Linux, shell is there, but in Windows, there is not there. And another issue, Windows will have extensions for all the files, like .exe for executable file, for database file, .dat. These are the extension for media file, MP3 file, for batch file dot. But in Linux, there is no extension for the file. So in Linux, the files are identified by symbol and alphabet. So in Linux, the files are identified by symbols and alphabet. So when we start the practical, I'll show you. So if the first character is hyphen, means normal file. If you see before the file name dot, it is a hidden file. For block file, first character will be B. For link file, the first character will be N. L, soft link. We'll be discussing that. So, if it is a socket file, first character S. If it is a directory, first character will be D. If it is a pipe file, first character will be pipe. If it is a special character file, C. So in Windows, the files are identified by extension, whereas in Linux, the files are identified by symbols and alphabet. So in Linux, the file will not have execute permission. So any unknown program will not run in Linux, whereas in Windows, it will run. So there is a chances in Windows, the OS will get corrupted easily, but in Linux, it will not get. That's why most of the servers are on Linux. And this Linux course is the foundation course. If you do want to do any higher courses like AWS, DevOps, Oracle, VM admin, Hadoop, SAP, and I already went through 2 times what are the topics which we are going to discuss. Okay. Apart from that, Linux OS can be installed on multiple partition, whereas Windows OS can be installed on only one partition. So what is the problem in Windows? If one of the folder get corrupted in Windows, the complete OS will get corrupted. But in Linux, the OS can be installed on multiple partitions. So if Linux OS folder get corrupted, that folder belong to which partition? That only will get affected without affecting the other complete OS, other part of the OS. So that is the some of the important advantage or features of Linux, which makes Linux commonly used in the server instead of Windows OS in the servers. I hope you understood, Vamshi, difference. Now see here. This is your Windows OS. Just 5 minutes, then we'll stop the session. Suppose this is the Windows OS. In this machine, you have installed Windows OS. No doubt, Windows is easy to operate. So your Windows OS will be installed on C drive. Yes, C drive will be there. On this C drive, you have some important folder like Windows. In that subfolder, System32, log files, drivers. Then here, you have a program file which contain installed application. So whenever we install any application, the application will be installed on program file. Then you have a folder. Earlier it used to be called document setting, but now it is users. So here you have separate folder for administrator. And now separate one folder for each user. Suppose you have created U1, U2, for each and every user, folder will be there. So it is easy to operate, but the problem is, suppose user 1 got affected with virus. So now once this folder get corrupted, it will affect this complete folder. So this is there on C drive. So now this will affect this OS. So the complete OS will get corrupted. This is the problem in Windows because everything is on a single partition. So in Windows, if one of the OS folder get corrupted, entire OS will get corrupted. But the Linux OS will be installed on multiple partition, which I'll show you day after tomorrow. I think day after tomorrow festival is there. Tomorrow we'll see the file system, where exactly which data will be stored. After that, we will do the installation. Okay. So these are some of the important advantage of Linux. So Linux OS can be installed on multiple partition, so that if one of the OS folder get corrupted, it will not affect the entire OS. So these are some of the important features in Linux OS. Because of that, you will find most of the servers are on Linux. Now, before we go to the installation, we should know where exactly what data will be stored. So that we will be discussing tomorrow, the structure of the Linux OS. So once we are good with this, then we can proceed with the installation. Okay. So this is the overall structure of the Linux OS, which we'll be discussing tomorrow. Okay, so this is the overall structure of the Linux. So we'll discuss tomorrow exactly what data will be stored. So once we know this structure, we can proceed with the installation. So that's it for today. So those who have any questions, any doubt regarding today's session, you can ask now. Yes, whatever your questions, your doubt is there, you can write it in the chat box, or you can also unmute your mic and you can speak. Yes, any questions, any doubt, anyone?
Yeah, hi, Suneel, Abhishek this side.
Okay, yes, tell me.
Suneel, maybe this is not related with today's session, but maybe in the going forward, you may explain that regarding the CPU and all. Like whenever I'm asked that how many CPUs are there, I can go to the etc and proc, but I still get confused. So we'll be covering those parts also in this course.
Yes. Which one?
Regarding CPU count and how they're used, like maybe I'm not able to explain.
You are
but
saying the structure of the Linux OS, or the
yes,
structure of the computer?
No, Linux only.
So that we'll see tomorrow. No?
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Tomorrow in detail we'll discuss that, where exactly what data will be stored.
Sure,
if you understand that, then only it will be easy for you to operate on the Linux operating system.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, anybody else? Any questions, any doubt? Yes, any questions, anybody? Or can I close the session? Okay, so shall I close the session then?
Sure, Suneel. Thank you.
Okay, see you tomorrow. I'm closing this session.